Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the program. This is a video that I've been a little bit hesitant to produce, come up with, reticent to publish something like this because it will be used illegitimately by those with evil intent. But the bottom line here is that we do need to discuss this. And I need to discuss it primarily because I'm getting flooded with email messages and WhatsApp messages from people asking me if a video produced by a certain slanderous lady who is full of it and attacked me repeatedly and has been proven wrong time and again, if her video has any credibility. And while I'm reticent to promote someone else's content, and I'm certainly not doing that because the person's behavior has been repugnant, I will say that her video is accurate to my knowledge. I have been dealing with many cases, and when I say many, it's when it's more than a dozen people I'm dealing with, that's many in my view. But many cases of people who are recent arrivals to the U.S. who are getting what I consider less than acceptable treatment from refugee relocation agents and centers. Now, it's been going on since October, at least that I'm aware of, where people wind up being put in locations that are less than desirable in dangerous neighborhoods, but it's a minority of people, a small number. Nonetheless, one person being put in harm's way or in a place where they feel unsafe really hasn't solved the problem of offering you succor and refuge to escape South Africa, does it? I mean, if you're concerned about your safety in South Africa, and that's one of the reasons we allow you to come to America, it makes zero sense to put you in a place where it's unsafe. That said, understand that rents have shot through the roof because of Joe Biden's failed presidency and his effort to destroy America and the world economy, and so things are much more pricier than they were just 5 years ago. That plays a role in this. But that does not excuse refugee assistance agencies ignoring the plight of people they're responsible for taking care of, ignoring the needs of the people they're responsible for taking care of, or for putting them in a dangerous situation. Now, I'm receiving all kinds of anecdotal photographs and information, but I'm not buying or trusting any of it, quite frankly. Unless someone contacts me directly and I speak to them face to face and I can see what's going on, I'm beginning to question because there are also some charlatans out there. That said, this Shelley Hepburn does have a point. The cases I've seen, with an exception of a case in Texas that I helped resolve back in September, October, to their satisfaction almost overnight. With that exception, it appears almost every case I'm coming across where someone is in unusual circumstances or less than desirable relocation to the United States are on the East and West Coast. Ms. Hepburn is correct in that. She's 100% correct from my personal experience, that this is happening on the East and West Coast. And it's also happening in what people would probably call blue or leftist democratic states like New York and California, but not exclusively. But it is happening in those places. And also, is add a little weight to it, one of the cases is a colored family in California I'm dealing with. Of course, that destroys the narrative that this is for white farmers or Afrikaners. But the bottom line is that, yes, from my perspective, and it's not my job to verify her content, but I've been asked repeatedly. Once twice, but when people keep asking the question, I have to address it. And from my experience, my information over the past 30 days plus, that has been the situation with about 10% or less of the refugee families that I'm encountering. Most people tell me they've arrived in America, they're in the temporary accommodations, or they moved into a more permanent accommodation, they're quite satisfied. The refugee reassistance location centers are fantastic, the people are wonderful, they help them out a lot. It's a great experience. They're typically around other refugees that have arrived prior to them, and those people are helpful in their neighborhood. But there is, unfortunately, too many cases. One is a lot, in my view, but 3, 4, 5, 6, a dozen, and those are the people that I'm aware of. So, again, not endorsing or confirming the lady's content because she's a nasty, evil person who slandered me, and frankly, we'll just leave it at that. But she is correct from my perspective. She is correct on this issue. Now, this is a serious concern, and my concern is for the safety and welfare of the people who've come to America, and that applies whether they're from Myanmar or they're from Kazakhstan or they come from Montenegro or they come from South Africa. It really isn't germane to me. If my country offers you refuge, succor, to avoid the chaos you find yourself in, it's not my choice, but once we offer that to you, we've made a promise, and it's our responsibility as a nation to ensure you're taken care of to get your feet on the ground. That's what's supposed to happen. And putting people in dodgy neighborhoods where crack dealers and prostitutes are roaming the streets or gunshots ring out is not protecting those people. It's putting them in harm's way, particularly if they're a different ethnicity than the majority of the population in that community. With that said, I'm sure that this story will, you notice ENCA and Newsroom Africa and SABC never contact me, but they steal my content all the time and comment on me often incorrectly. I'm sure this content will be fodder for them, but quite frankly, my concern is the welfare of these people, and also at some point the administration will get egg on its face for promising people safety and putting them in the neighborhoods. Now, having said that, I'm pretty confident that you're not the first people to be put in these crappy neighborhoods. I'm sure that Congolese were probably put there and they had no voice. They speak French or another language and they had no choice and no one to reach out to. But you do have people to reach out to, and you do speak the language that the people in this country understand by and large. So I don't know if it's a case of the squeaky wheel gets greased, but the bottom line is that no one, Congolese, Rohingya, Mandarin, Montenegrin, or South African, should be put in bad circumstances. All right, folks. There you have it. More to follow in this story as I'm trying to organize and marshal resources of independent volunteers here in the United States to address the needs of these people as best we can if the U.S. government is failing them, which appears to be the case at least more than once. What say you? Cheers.